Man, it's beautiful today. Went out there and practiced this morning. The weather just could not be better. Been so fortunate with that. Exciting week for all of us. You know, I think rivalries are one of the coolest things about college football. And I think what's unique, too, about somewhat the Northwest, because I've been able to experience a few of them, is like their emphasis on within the state. The state of Oregon, you're a duck or a beef, you know, or Washington or Montana. And I think that's a little bit unique compared to maybe some of the rivalries that are about a couple of states, or shoot, even in LA, there's so much going on that it's not maybe the most important thing all the time. But so we're excited about what this Friday game brings, and to be a part of it. We've got some work to do. It's a good football team that plays physical, fast, got an elite quarterback. The guy's got talent, great kid, and so we know it's going to be a challenge, but we're excited about getting ready for it and playing the game on Friday.
So where are you at on the importance of a rivalry like this? You know, coaches seem to be all over the map, where it's just another game to it's the biggest thing on the planet. Where are you?
Well, I want our approach to be it's like another opportunity, another game. Because I think if you're going to play your best, your approach got to be consistent, and your focus got to be on your techniques and the details of the plan. Because, again, emotions do run high in rivalries games, but once you get into the game, it then comes down to execution. And so I don't want to change it in regards to, making this bigger than it is. It's an important game, just like all those games are important. And it should have a great atmosphere, which we want to play in. So go back to looking forward to it.
What was your, going into the week, what was your message to the team insofar as, you know, do you say stuff? Do you tell them to tamp it down, or I mean, or is it just typical?
Yeah. The message is kind of what I just said in regards to the mindset, the approach, the work week, getting into the game and understanding that there will be some emotion to it just because the crowd will bring it, and it's our last opportunity for these seniors, but it still comes down to execution. And the best way you're going to execute is if you're focused on the task at hand.
Can you talk about your Civil War memories a little bit, and are you going to talk to the team about those games at all?
You know, I don't know if I'll talk about my experiences. I do have some good ones and some bad ones in this game. Obviously, 98 is one that stands out to me, that the double overtime and the crowd taking the field and have to be dispersed. And I have mentioned to our guys of like my past experiences, not specifically Civil War, but just the memories of games like that aren't always my favorite memories of the relationships I made and bus rides and practice and school and all of that. So I've talked a little bit more my whole experience besides the games. I remember 98 going down there and having an opportunity, but they ran the ball real well. We lost it. In 99. 2000, it was kind of the weather like it is today. Sun was out. It was cold. Keith Jackson, the whole thing. It was a great memory. Probably one of my favorite memories of playing was taking the knee in that game to win the game and really win the Pac-10 title at the time. 2001, go back down there and tough memories there. Had opportunities, got the turnover late. Don't get it finished. So two wins at home, 2 losses on the road.
It's not only Civil War; it's also going to be Senior Day. Can you talk about your senior class a little bit?
Yeah, those seniors, I do appreciate those guys. Been through a lot. Just appreciate their willingness to try a new approach. Their willingness to work through tough times when they're not getting the results they wanted. Their willingness to accept some new coaching and continue to work. And so those guys have been through a lot, and their continued work, I thought they practiced really well today. And so we do want to send them out on a good note.
How do you stand with injuries heading into this game?
Yep. Tago trying to work him. He didn't play last week, but probably doubtful where he's at right now. Ham, same way, kind of got the calf thing at the beginning of the last weekend, and I'd say he's doubtful as well. Reichner going to play again, battling through it, but he'll be available at this point. Anybody else? Try to think. Dwayne did not practice today, so we'll see if something changes by the end of the week, but I'd say he's doubtful.
On a bit of a side note, is there a possibility Jake Luton could petition for a 6th year?
You know, I think there's something, I don't know the ins and outs of the rule, but I think something with these guys who take a long-term injury or a season-ending injury in the first half of the season have that opportunity, but nothing's set in stone.
Going back to Saturday, a couple things. Jake went under center, I think, at least one series in the third quarter. You've done that a couple times here, but what's the thinking when you go under center? Because generally you're coming out the shot.
Yeah, we do want to grow in that regard a little bit because I like getting under the center, one, to get downhill in the run game, and then that'll set up some play-action pass. And we've run a little bit under the center. I'd say almost every week we've gotten down under once or twice, whether we're quarterback sneaking or running the ball, play-action pass. I know we did action screen. So I think we can grow in that regard. I think it's just another look for the defense.
The pass protection, I mean, if you just go on raw, sacks and whatnot.
Numbers?
It wasn't
Yeah.
horrible. It wasn't horrible sack. I mean, the only 2 sacks came, that one series where it looked like Jake may have held the ball a bit too long.
Yep.
What did you think of the pass protection Saturday?
Yeah, I think there were some signs of improvement. One with the ball coming out, one with those guys blocking a pretty good defensive front. Because I'm with you on the 2 sacks; those were avoidable, whatever they were in the third quarter. So I think that's something to build off because that's a good defensive front we played.
And then David Morris, he just played special teams.
Yeah.
Is there a possibility he could play safety a little bit?
I think there's a slight possibility, a little bit more than special teams. He did a good job on teams, but just where he's out health-wise and the amount of reps he's just missed defensively, it's tough to throw him out there a ton. So if he does play any defense, I see it being limited.
Coach, how similar, in your experience, Apple Cups to Civil Wars? Are they similar? Are there some major differences between the 2 rivalries?
I think it's pretty similar in regards to, again, it's just statewide. You're a duck beef or you're a coug or a dog, and similar pageantries, passions. Was fortunate to be in that game 4 times, and that's what, again, go back to this Northwest thing of it's just statewide. Like, I was part of the Brawl of the Wild in Montana for two years. What a game that was. I don't know if you guys saw the game last weekend between Montana and Montana State. So that's why I think going back to really Northwest, but rivalries are unique and when it's just strictly the state.
You've played both of those teams, by the way. How do you see that game, the Apple Cup, shaping up?
Sure. I think that'll be a competitive. I think the difference this year, and again, I'm not a part of it, but I do think that Washington State quarterback, his mobility makes that offense even more dangerous. I think that, it'll be a physical, competitive game. Both those teams are good, and they're playing for a whole lot.
And Coach, against Oregon, how big is this one, not just for the Civil War, senior day, but for momentum heading into the offseason?
Yeah, I think that, it's the last game. Senior day is huge. Rivalry week makes it big, and I think anytime you win, it adds momentum to what you're doing. So it could be very beneficial to win a game. At the same time, it's one of 12, and our approach is going to be staying the same, and we're going to go out there and play with some great effort.
Coach Jamar's had such a fantastic year. How much have you seen him improve, and maybe where have you seen him improve the most through the course of the season?
Yeah, I've just been impressed with his, maintaining his body, because as a true freshman, he didn't get a full off season of training and getting ready for this, and the amount of times he's carried the ball. I think he's gotten improvement in regards to taking care of the ball. He had a couple early fumbles early in the year. He's done, better in that regard. Pass protection, there's a lot going on in pass protection, and recognizing where it's at and then having the proper technique to put his face in there and block somebody. I think he's grown. So obviously pleased with the year he's having, and we want him to go out on the right foot here in another one on Friday.
On Saturday, the third down conversions, that was the worst of the year. And
Yep.
I went and looked, and it wasn't like you had a ton of third and longs either, just a lot of third and fours and fives.
Oh, yeah.
Was there something that just happened?
Well, that defense over there is pretty good, and that was disappointing. We had a couple of chances with some stuff that we needed to execute. We didn't, and then they're going to make you earn it. I mean, they're playing some tight coverage, 1-on-1, and just was not good. And that number really hurt us. I think just you look at it, we had some movement of the ball offensively, but just being able to sustain it and finish it couldn't do it with 2 of 14 on third down.
You've kind of established this year, you're willing to push the envelope a little bit with the special teams and the stuff on
Yeah.
offense.
Yeah.
Has there been any ideas at all that have been thrown at you that you just went, no, we're not doing that?
Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah,
What's like the wildest idea?
Well, yeah, we've tried some stuff in practice. I don't know about the wildest, but we've had a couple of fake punts that we've tried in practice that just had no chance. That didn't, make the cut coming to call it on a Saturday. I think one time when we were running a fake field goal and they had called timeout against somebody early this year, that would have been kind of cool to see on tape to see if it. But we lined up in the formation, and now we're not going to show it again. So I don't know about a specific, but we've tried a bunch.
Coach, once Friday's game is over, regular season ends, do you kind of let players disconnect for a while, or do you still have a fair amount of organized team activities and workouts
Right.
after that? What does the timeline look like?
We'll have a team meeting, but they need to finish school. And so that'll be the focus the last couple of weeks here of the term is after the season is just finishing well in the classroom. Really proud of the progress these guys have made ever since I've been here. And so we want to finish this term the same way. We won't regroup activity-wise until January when then off-season lifting will start.
Jonathan, you mentioned 1998 briefly. What are some of your memories from that game specifically? And if you can think back 2 decades. And also, at that point in your career, you were a young player, obviously. Did you have any inkling about the importance of that game at that time or even after you had time to reflect on it?
Yeah. What do I remember about that game? It's always the negativity bias here, but I always remember I should have thrown a pick six. I think I dropped the ball. It was like we were running a curl route, and the outside backer jumps it and goes right off his chest and drops it. He'd have been gone. I remember double overtime. We need to score a touchdown to win the game. The play before Simonton goes and does it, we actually threw the ball. We ran a little sprint out, and I was kind of surprised we called that play because he was running it so well, and the game was there. I remember that. So I remember cover zero, a couple of inside slants that I think it was Ainsworth took it to the house, and just great memories. During the moment of the game, don't realize how big and how lasting the thing will be, but as I look back on it now, obviously it was a great football game and one memory I won't soon forget.
What do you plan to do with the team as far as Thanksgiving goes?
We are going to have a meal together. We're going to kind of do our typical walkthrough in the morning, like we do a day before the game, and then have a Thanksgiving lunch where all the families are welcome. I think we've got over 300 people coming, so every staff member within the football department and coaches, players, and their families, we're going to have a meal together and kind of recognize the seniors at the same time, and then get into our typical routine in the evening before a game.
Turkey, no
Haven't
turkey. Chip Kelly was down on turkey.
DVD might be the answer man on that. I don't know where we're going on. Is there? Love it.
I remember Chip Kelly was like, no turkey the day before a football game.
Yeah, I probably could get some advice on meals and what I'm eating.
I was over at women's basketball just a little bit ago, and actually I asked Coach Ruick what his favorite Thanksgiving food was, and he was down on turkey too. So I'm just wondering what your favorite Thanksgiving food is.
Yeah, I'm into the stuffing. I am turkey stuffing, a little gravy on it, mashed potato, pumpkin pie. I'm not too picky when it comes to Thanksgiving.
Transitioning back to the Civil War itself, what would you like to see out of your team this week, heading into this final week? Obviously, it's been a long season. It comes down to one game, just what's left for the seniors and everything along the way. What would you like to see out of your group heading into the weekend?
I'd truly like to see execution at a high level. I think we're going to play hard. I think we're going to fight. They're going to make some plays. We're going to make some plays. But for a long period of time, having some higher execution, because that's how you win the game. And that's what's been lacking for us. And so that's what I'm hoping to see.
You mentioned the protection being improved. On the other side, you got 3 sacks and the defense in the second half. What were your thoughts in Seattle about how you played those last 2 quarters?
Yeah,
defense?
I think it was good to get the guy on the ground. I think we had other opportunities to get the guy on the ground. I know he can be elusive and this and that, but, so that was, I think, something to build off of. I think we did a good job in preparing our protection beaters, the pressures we were bringing. And so that's something to build off, because that's been something of tough to, especially early on, getting to the quarterback and getting him down. And so that was nice to see.
If you said you were surprised at the spread out they called in '98, how much autonomy were you ever given to did you ever change your call?
Not in that game, not
in
when I was
that
a
game,
youngster.
But in your career at Oregon State, did you have
Yeah.
that autonomy?
Yeah, we had a little bit going, not much, a little bit. But I can remember a couple instances where I changed the call or didn't like the call and changed it.
Was that okay with either Riley or Erickson, whoever it was?
Well, I think I was 1 for 2, so it was okay when it worked on the one, and the other one, Erickson let me know about. Yeah.
How much autonomy, in your experience coaching quarterbacks, does it depend on the kid, the experience level they have, to how much freedom you give them?
Yeah, I think it's earned, and so it depends on the kid in regards to how much he wants to prepare, and then you put him in the situations in practice, and if he can execute them, then you give him a little bit more. We don't do much just like freelance of like call whatever you want, but we are changing the play at the line of scrimmage a decent amount. I thought they did a good job of communicating that into a loud environment last week. I mean, we changed almost a dozen plays from run to pass or one direction to one way. So our quarterback's got some autonomy, and there is just some guidelines to follow.